I'm continuing on a project from yesterday, and you know, I know a lot of people keep all of their patterns on their Creative Studio 7 database, but right now I only have 9 patterns because those are the patterns I've used recently. And on this quilt I'm using this Police Meander pattern by Lori Thomas, and probably when I get finished I will delete the patterns that are on there. There's no point in me keeping all of these. All I want is patterns that are going to be used in the project I'm working on. So I'll go get my project here, go to File, Open, and it's this police theme project. Open it, and there's my project. Here's my point of origin, and I'll have to do a relocate to get everything set up. Okay, first thing I need to do here is get rid of this boundary, press the L key, hit delete, and get rid of that. I've rolled the quilt. I will do a relocate. I'm ready to relocate. I have it rolled. I have the sides basted. There's 5 of these stars. There's 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I know the machine is sitting right at this star. It's sitting at the point right there. Click yes. Now my patterns are all aligned with that point on that star. So I have some other things I have to do. There's a pocket on this quilt, and that pocket I do not want to stitch over. So here's where the pocket's located, right here, like this. And it has a button on it, so I will going to have to either use trim or fill to get rid of that. I have the boundary drawn, so now I need to remove this section of pattern on this left side and on the right side. I'll click the first repeat and right click, go down to fill inside, and well, that was very quick. I'll say one thing, CS7 fill is very quick. Then I'll right click or click and select this repeat on the right side, and then just right click and do my fill inside. Okay, so that's all finished. Now I need to identify this point where the pocket is located. So I'm just going to place the machine there and look and see what all is in that area. So I could do I think what I'm going to do first is just draw a boundary around that area. Yeah, I have the boundary around that pocket drawn, and what I think I'll do is I'll just convert this boundary to a trim. That sounds like the best way to do this. So just right click and convert boundary to a trim, and that removes all of this pattern that's inside of that boundary, and I think that's going to be the best way. I'll have tie-offs, but I'll just have to deal with that. Okay,
Here's one thing I do not like about 7. I just plugged in a USB drive because I want to copy something and paste it, or I want to have it stored on the USB drive. And it comes up with this every time I plug in a storage device. I know what I want to upload for its patterns, and I don't want to be bothered with this. So I will just tell it no. And I'm going to test one other thing. I'm going to plug in a drive that it is really an old hard drive that I have connected to a USB. And see, I plug that in, and what does it do? It comes up and asks me the same thing. Every time I plug in a USB or an external hard drive, it asks me this question. That needs to be removed from the program. Okay, this is that trim that I put in, and I no longer have any need for that. So I'm just going to press the O key, and you can see it's selected now that I press the O key. I'm going to go ahead and delete that trim because I don't need that anymore. That row is completely stitched. I'm ready to do a relocate here and get set up for the next area. I've already rolled the quilt. Okay, I did my I zoomed way in, and I got the nodes, and you can see I have a node right there, and I have one down here, but I don't want this one, I want this one. And I went ahead and hit my D key, and I divided it. I've already done that. I clicked. I told it I wanted to relocate, shift all to one point. I put my cursor up here, and see it snapped to that point this time because that's where I divided it. So that's what I always do. That's just how I do this. I've already divided it, and I've already relocated it. I'm a little bit off there. I'll relocate, shift all to one point, and see if we can get it a little bit closer to where the crosshair is. Yes. And then again, I'll zoom in. Always zooms back out. That's just the way it does. So as I zoom in, and yes, looks like I'm good to go here. I'm right where the crosshair and that point are together. So I'll escape out of that and ready to quilt this next row. Okay, I'm ready to finish this last row. I am very impressed here with the accuracy of how it set this quilt project up. I'm going to make a slight adjustment here to this bottom row, and that is very close. So all I'm going to do is select the row and move the pattern so that there's nothing below the boundary, because I'm going to do a fill here, have it finish this. So I'm going to do a fill on the left side here. I'll select that first repeat, right click, get my fill inside, and fill is very quick in version 7.